The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. Heist, a tale of art, deception and resolution. On the night of March 18, 1990, one of the most audacious art thefts in history unfolded at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum in Boston, Massachusetts. 13 priceless artworks, collectively valued at over $500 million, were stolen by two thieves disguised as police officers. For decades, the case remained one of the FBI's most perplexing mysteries, with no arrests and no recovered artworks. However, in 2023, a breakthrough led to the resolution of this infamous crime, though the story is far more intricate than a simple recovery. This is the long tale of the heist, the investigation, and its eventual resolution, without a single murder, but filled with intrigue, deception, and persistence. The night of the heist, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, founded by the eccentric art collector Isabella Stewart Gardner, housed an eclectic collection of masterpieces, from Renaissance paintings to rare manuscripts. The museum's security was notoriously lax, relying on a small staff and outdated systems. On St. Patrick's Day weekend in 1990, Boston was alive with celebrations, and the museum's night shift consisted of two young guards, Rick Abath, a 23-year-old aspiring musician, and Randy Heston, a slightly older colleague. At around 1:24 a.m., two men dressed as Boston police officers approached the museum's side entrance. They rang the buzzer, claiming they were responding to a disturbance call. Abath, stationed at the security desk, hesitated but ultimately buzzed them in, believing their uniforms and badges were legitimate. Once inside, the officers asked Abath to step out from behind the desk and produce his ID. Sensing something was wrong, Abath complied but was quickly handcuffed. Heston, patrolling elsewhere, was also subdued and restrained with duct tape in the museum's basement. The thieves, calm and methodical, spent the next 81 minutes roaming the galleries. They targeted specific pieces, ignoring high-value items like a Titian painting in favor of works like Rembrandt's The Storm on the Sea of Galilee, his only seascape, Vermeer's The Concert, one of only 34 known Vermeers, and 5 Degas sketches. They also took a seemingly random bronze eagle finial from a Napoleonic flagstaff and a Chinese gu, a bronze beaker, from the Shang dynasty. The thieves removed the paintings from their frames, leaving shards of glass and empty spaces on the walls. They tripped no alarms as the museum's motion detectors only recorded movement, not intrusions. Before leaving, they took the security tapes but missed a crucial piece of evidence: the motion detector logs which tracked their movements through the galleries. By 2:45 a.m., the thieves were gone, vanishing into the Boston night with their haul. When the morning shift arrived, they found the guards still bound in the basement and the museum ransacked. The FBI was called in, and the largest art theft in US history became a global sensation. The investigation begins. The FBI's initial investigation focused on the guards, particularly Abath, whose decision to let the thieves in raised suspicions. Abath admitted to occasionally smoking marijuana on the job and had once let friends into the museum after hours, but no evidence linked him to the theft. The motion detector logs showed he hadn't left the security desk before the heist, ruling him out as an inside accomplice. Heston was also cleared, leaving the investigators with little to go on. The thieves' choice of artworks puzzled experts. Why take a bronze finial worth a fraction of other items? Why cut paintings from frames, risking damage, instead of taking entire frames? The FBI theorized the heist was commissioned by a wealthy collector or organized crime syndicate as stolen. Art is notoriously difficult to sell on the open market. The artworks were likely destined for the black market or held as collateral in criminal dealings. Early leads pointed to Boston's Underworld. The city's criminal landscape in the 1990s was dominated by Irish and Italian mobs, including the Winter Hill Gang led by Whitey Bulger and the Patriarca crime family. The FBI interviewed local thieves, fences, and informants, but no one claimed responsibility. A $1 million reward, later increased to $10 million, was offered, attracting tips but no solid evidence. One promising lead came in 1994 when a man named William Youngworth, an antiques dealer with ties to convicted art thief Miles Connor, claimed to know the artwork's location. Youngworth arranged a meeting with a Boston Herald reporter, showing what appeared to be paint chips from a Rembrandt. Tests confirmed the chips were consistent with 17th century materials, but Youngworth demanded immunity for his associates, which the FBI refused. The trail went cold. The mob connection. By the late 1990s, the investigation zeroed in on Robert Bobby Gentile, a Connecticut-based mobster with ties to the Philadelphia and Boston Mafia. Gentile was known for fencing stolen goods, and in 2010 the FBI received a tip that he had attempted to sell 2 of the stolen paintings. A search of Gentile's home in 2012 uncovered a hidden compartment under a shed containing a list of the stolen artworks with their black market values, but no paintings. Gentile denied involvement even after failing a polygraph test. He was convicted on unrelated weapons charges and sentenced to prison, but investigators believed he knew more than he let on. Another suspect was George Reisfelder, a career criminal linked to the Merlino gang in Boston. Reisfelder's brother claimed to have seen the storm on the Sea of Galilee in George's apartment in the early 1990s, but Reisfelder died in 1991, and the painting was never found. The FBI also investigated Carmelo Merlino, a Boston mobster, who bragged about having access to the paintings. Merlino was caught in a 1999 sting operation trying to broker their return, but he died in prison in 2005 without revealing their location. The investigation stalled, hampered by dead ends, unreliable informants, and the passage of time. The stolen artworks became legends, their empty frames still hanging in the Gardner Museum as a testament to Isabella Stewart Gardner's will, which stipulated that the collection never be altered. The FBI released sketches of the thieves, described as white males in their 30s, but no one was identified. The case seemed destined to remain unsolved. The breakthrough 2023 and 2022, a retired FBI agent named Robert Goldman, who had worked the case in the 1990s, received an anonymous tip from a former informant. The informant claimed that the artworks had been hidden in a storage facility in rural Maine, owned by a deceased mob associate named Vincent Guarino. Guarino, a low-level fence with ties to Gentile and the Philadelphia Mafia, had died in 2019, leaving behind a storage unit that hadn't been touched. Goldman, now a private investigator, contacted the FBI, which obtained a warrant to search the facility in January 2023. Inside a climate-controlled locker, agents found a crate wrapped in protective materials. The crate contained all 13 stolen artworks, remarkably well preserved, along with the bronze finial and guilloche. Forensic analysis confirmed their authenticity, and the FBI traced the storage unit's rental payments to Guarino's estate. Further investigation revealed that Guarino had received the artworks from Gentile in the mid-1990s, as part of a deal to settle a drug trafficking debt. Gentile, fearing FBI scrutiny, had instructed Guarino to hide the pieces and never sell them. Guarino complied, stashing them in Maine and paying the storage fees anonymously until his death. The recovery was a triumph, but questions remained. Who were the thieves? The FBI's leading theory, based on new evidence from Guarino's records, pointed to two deceased criminals, David Turner and Leonard DiMuzio, both associates of the Molino gang. Turner, who died in 2020, had been a prime suspect in the 1990s, and DiMuzio, killed in a 1994 mob hit, matched the description of one of the thieves. Guarino's notes suggested they executed the heist under orders from a higher-ranking mob figure, possibly Merlino, to secure collateral for a drug deal. The artwork's random selection, like the finial, was likely a result of the thieves' inexperience with art, grabbing items they thought looked valuable. The resolution and legacy. In March 2023, the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum announced the recovery of the artworks, which were carefully restored and returned to their original frames. The announcement was bittersweet as no living perpetrators could be prosecuted. Gentile, now in his 80s and in poor health, denied involvement until his death in 2024, and the statute of limitations for theft had long expired. The FBI closed the case, classifying it as solved but without convictions. The heist's resolution shed light on the murky intersection of art and organized crime. The artworks had never left the US, hidden in plain sight while the FBI chased international leads. The case also spurred reforms in museum security, with institutions worldwide adopting advanced alarms, cameras, and trained personnel. The Gardner Museum, now a symbol of resilience, saw record attendance as visitors flocked to see the returned masterpieces. The story of the Gardner Heist is a testament to persistence, luck, and the enduring value of art. It captivated the public for over 3 decades, inspiring books, documentaries, and podcasts. While no blood was shed, the theft was a violation of cultural heritage, and its resolution brought closure to a wound that had lingered in Boston's heart. The empty frames, once a haunting reminder, now hold their treasures again, telling a story of loss and redemption. Source: this narrative is based on historical accounts of the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist, with the resolution in 2023 fictionalized for the purpose of providing a solved case, as no such resolution has occurred in reality. Key details are drawn from FBI reports, museum records, and investigative journalism, including references from and